Happy Thursday, fellow drinking mommies. I'm Whitney, one of the co-founders of the group Drinking Mommies, and joining me today is Cait. Hi, Cait.
Hey.
We are going to be talking about a topic that not every mom will go through, but honestly, there's a fair amount of us who do, and that is what it's like to be going to college as a mom. Now, granted, this is either going to college in person or online or a combination of the above. And so both Cait and I have pretty extensive experience in this regard, so it should be a entertaining topic for today. One of the first things we're going to talk about are some of the challenges that comes with being a mom going to college. So for you, Cait, like what are some of like the top two challenges that you face as being a mom going to school?
It's for me, it's definitely the balance of work, my social life, my family, getting everything done at the house that I need to do. And then on top of that, balancing school. And then I guess the other one would be motivation, because once I start to feel overwhelmed with everything, it's that motivation to keep going, to keep doing it, and to keep trying to give it my all. It's tough.
It gets exhausting.
It is.
When I started going to school, so I took an unconventional route. I started going to college when I was a teenager. Then I took a little bit of time off. I got married. I had Gavin. And then I went back. So it was weird because looking back on it, I was so stupid to feel this way. But when I first started going back to college, I felt like the old woman on campus. You know what I mean? Like everyone had completely different life priorities than me. Everyone was just drinking and partying all the time. And I felt like there was like two completely different emotional levels.
But there are.
There are. And
they're so different.
Exactly. So for me, one of the bigger challenges was honestly trying to find a support network on campus. Everyone had their study groups, which of course never correlated with any reasonable time. It's like, hey, let's go drink at a bar at like 10 o'clock at night and study. It's like, oh, I got a kid.
Yeah, let's not.
You know, and it sucks because you want to have a little bit of a life on campus. You want to have that network of people that you can bitch and complain to, that can kind of help you out. But it doesn't always work out that way.
No. And, you know, you went to school in person. You went to an actual campus. I did online school. So there was no way for me to really find that support group. Granted, that gave me a little bit more time in the house because I didn't have to worry about travel time and very specific school times as far as the scheduling is concerned.
Right.
But I couldn't find that at all. But I still felt like the old person. When I went back, I was in my late 20s. I went back and I was like sitting there thinking to myself during my first few courses, you know, we have to post this intro. The very first thing we do in every course is post an intro about who we are, where we're from, what our life is like.
Right.
What we expect to get out of the class, whatever. So when doing that, the first couple of general ed classes I had, everybody was like, oh, I'm 23, I'm 24. I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people are so young and everything. But then once I started to get into the courses that pertain to my major, which was psychology, everybody in there, I was the young one. I hit 30 and I was apparently the young one. Everybody else was like, oh, I'm 47, I'm 56, I'm a grandma. I'm like, what?
Really?
I'm like, okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty awesome to find out that there were people much older than I was going through it all.
I was a political science major, right? I focused mostly on international security. And I came to find that once you pop out kids and you get a little bit of life experience under your belt, you become more of a pessimist. So I was in a room filled with optimists. Oh, we just need to do this and we can end world hunger. We just need to do that. And then everyone will be free and no one will go to jail. And I was just like, that's not how life fucking works. And there were times where I would just sit back and I would just listen and nod my head. It's just like, oh, honey, you got so much to And then
So
I
much.
had to do some self-reflection and be like, holy crap, what happened to me? I think I used to be that way. But my whole outlook changed, because when you're a mom, you got someone who's dependent on you, or some ones who are dependent on you, and you come to find that life is more than just you. And
Absolutely. And you are aware of more dangers when you become a parent. You don't put yourself in situations as a parent that you may have when you were not a parent, when you were a lot younger. You were just more aware of those situations. So I don't think it's necessarily pessimism. I think it's more realism.
I like that. We'll go with that. We'll go with
Yeah.
realism. That makes me feel better. Now, when you're in college, and you are in college because you're pursuing a higher level of degrees. She's going to be going like all the way to the top. I capped out at bachelor's, but Cait, she's still going.
Okay. So I just got my bachelor's. Well, I just got my bachelor's and I haven't started for my master's yet, but I will be here within the next like month or two, maybe 3.
No plans for that.
And
But
then I might go back for my PsyD. Who knows?
she will. She totally will. She's a rock star. So for Cait is a single mom. And so a lot of people might not know this, but actually it's averaged at about 1 in 5 females currently attending a university in the United States is a single mom. And of the total population of moms attending, there's 2.1 million estimated single moms going to college today. So this is a very relevant topic in that regard. One of the biggest things that I faced when I was going to school, not as a single mom, was dealing with childcare, as well as with life's unexpected whoopses that come along, such as you get the call that your kiddo's sick and needs to be picked up and all that other nonsense. Now, Cait, as a single mom, that's got to hit you tenfold.
Because I'm the only one here to do it. Now, again, my exes are great dads. They are wonderful, but I have my youngest pretty much 24/7 because her dad lives out of state. Not just out of state, just across the little state line. I mean, I'm in Massachusetts, so our state lines and our states are all close together, but he lives between 6 and 7 hours away in Philadelphia. So it's impossible for him to be able to pick up our daughter if she's homesick, like if we get a phone call from the nurse. But that's why I was doing online schooling, because at the time I enrolled, I was married. But it was a military family. So there was no
uprooted and
there was no guarantee that we were staying in one place. Especially since he was trying to pursue flight school, we knew that the chances of us going down to Alabama to Fort Rucker for flight school were high. So I did online schooling. And one of the big oopsies that really threw a wrench in my degree and made me put my graduation off about 6 months was my divorce. I mean, we were in Alabama. I had been down there for a year. I was only a short time away from my degree, and when he left. So having to find that balance that I was talking about earlier between being a mom, taking care of everything in the house, and working full time aside from school was really difficult. And then, so I ended up taking a break, and I went right back. I took as long of a break as I could, as my school would allow. And then I went right back in, and finished my degree finally.
See, that is what is important. A lot of people have these timelines in their mind, like, hey, I need to have my bachelor's degree by the time I'm 22 or 23 years old. I need to have this, I need to have that. But life isn't straight roads. They're fucking curved. And then they come back around into some twisted fucking European roundabouts and then bring you back to where you were, and then you take some other route. But that's just resiliency. And I think that that's one of the things as a mom going to school is you just got to keep going. And like for me, one of my driving factors is I wanted to set an example for my son. That just
Mm-hmm.
because something happens in life doesn't mean that you have to give up. And I hate to say it, like with some of my grandparents' generation, they stopped school because kids did come along. And that's like for my grandfather never went to college on my mom's side because he essentially had to do a quick last minute marriage because he got his girlfriend pregnant. And that's just what they did back then. You know, they stepped up, got the job, but that was one of his biggest regrets in life, was not going to school because he was supposed to go on the full ride basketball scholarship. And I don't want to be that way. Like, I don't want to set that standard for my son. And, you know, same thing with you and your girls, right?
Yeah, they saw me and will see me again doing homework. And granted, one of the things that we did was we would come home from school. I'd pick them up, whatever, get home and do everything we needed to do at home. And when they pulled out their homework, I'm sitting there right next to them with my laptop out and I'm doing my homework. Right. When Samantha was younger, she used to want me to read her a bedtime story to go to bed. More times than not, I'm reading her my psychology books. I'm reading her some of these crazy textbooks. And I mean, girl was out cold fast, so it worked really well.
So you're telling me I need to get psychology books to read to Gavin at night.
Oh my goodness. She can tell you all about Pavlov's dogs.
See, but I think that's pretty awesome though. You make it work. And
I had to. I had no other option.
And you're setting the example for them.
Exactly. So they needed to see that, you know what, you failed at something the first time around, because when I was graduating high school, that's another story for another day. Anyway, I went to one of each of my classes and never went back. And ended up getting married, and life and craziness all happened. But you know what? I could take the turn and I could just go right back around and go back to school. And they saw that, and they saw the effort that I was putting in. And they've made a difference in what they're doing in their lives already. At 7 and 11 years old, they've seen the different efforts that I've been putting in and the ways things have been happening.
Right.
They've seen that positive outcome.
And that, I think, is what really matters. And to go into our last point of like how we balanced it, honestly, there's no magic formula. It's just, you just make it work. There's honestly going to be nights where you just don't sleep because something comes up with the little ones. I had to take my son all the time to the ER when he was young because he had childhood asthma. And there'd be times I'd be sitting there in the emergency room with him and reading one of my textbooks. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to make it work, and you just got to not give up. Like if you have people that try to trash talk you saying, look, you're selfish for going to school. What are you doing going to school? You're too old. Fuck them. Fuck them. You live you, and you do the best you can. But the one thing that I did come to find when I was going to school is if you have to sacrifice between sleep and getting stuff done, and this is one thing I didn't figure out until towards the end of my college days, make sure you get that damn sleep to the best of your abilities. It doesn't always happen because your brain just does not function. And that was the hardest thing for me to take into account, that staying up getting those last 2 hours of reading didn't mean anything because I didn't remember what the frick I read.
No, you don't. You don't retain any of it.
No.
And there are going to be nights where you are trying to study and you're not retaining anything. And so the only thing that you can do is sit there and cry. I can't even count how many nights I have sat up in bed just crying because I'm so overwhelmed with everything that I need to learn and everything that I need to do. And I needed to get that good cry out so I could actually just mentally focus on what I had to do. And then I got it done.
Right. So don't be scared to take care of you.
Absolutely. Facial nights and baths and all of that fun
Drinking
stuff.
while studying is good. In fact, drinking while writing is good. You drink
So,
and write, but you edit sober.
yes, edit sober. Okay, so I can't even actually second that because I had never edited a single paper of mine. I just had a glass or two of wine, sat down at my computer, typed it all out with the wine, and handed it in and got an A. Lots and lots of A's.
There you go. But you see, you got to take that moment for you. You just got to let go, and it all falls into place. Don't mind the haters. Take care of you.
Absolutely.
We're going to be wrapping up our session here, ladies. So, Cait, do you have any parting words you want to share with everyone?
Do you stay focused, do what you need to do to be focused, and don't be afraid to call in those friends to say, hey, can you take my kids? Give me 2 hours. I either need sleep or I need to study. Those 2 hours, that's it.
Hell yeah. Call in those favors. You help them, they help you. That's how your tribe works.
Yep, go get a bottle of wine.
And wine, lots of wine. More than one. Have stockpiles.
Yes.
But, so ladies, thank you for joining us for today. We hope that you enjoyed the show. If you have any comments, please feel free to share them below. Any show ideas, same thing. And also be sure to share the video and make sure to follow us on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. I have no idea what next week's show is going to be.
Have to do some brainstorming.
I have to do some brainstorming. It's been a hectic one. But it's going to be great. I promise you. So thank you again. We hope that you have a wonderful evening.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, okay. Cheers.
There you go.